Hello. Welcome to the Realm of Ideas is Free to All. This is the preview for episode 59, Copying and Plagiarism, Part 2, Applications. These are a series of ruminations we do once a week. We have a preview on Wednesday night. We have the actual episode on Sunday morning at 2 a.m. And this is a series of kind of ideas that have been going around in my head for the last however many years, probably some of them go back to childhood. A lot of them kind of generate once I started, realizing the necessity of myself as an architect, and then kind of coming up to going to architectural school, realizing that I was an architect. So I think I always was an architect, but I just didn't realize what that was. So anyway, episode 59 is a continuation of the one we did last week. I really have to thank all the people who continued to join up and kind of view and make comments and share. It's very encouraging. It's really nice. It's nice to see. It's appreciated. If some people feel more comfortable commenting than kind of chatting, that's fine. It seems as if like the chat, maybe I'm doing it wrong, but anyway. So anyway, last week we started this piece with a quote by Borges and relating to the death of JFK, which is how I start JFK, and talked about the kind of nature of that circumstance. And that was kind of how we started the New Year's. So I kind of figured that since this is a continuation of that, I think it was something that I wanted to kind of understand was still in relationship to that particular circumstance. So I'm going to also read again from Borges, and I'm going to give a little kind of piece. This is from what I think is like a really kind of clever, it's genius, but it's really beautiful. It's called Pierre Menard, author of the Quixote. And what is done here is here's a piece I'm going to read. We'll go into this more on Sunday. Those who have insinuated that Menard devoted his life to writing a contemporary Quixote besmirch his illustrious memory. Menard did not want to compose another Quixote, which surely is easy enough. He wanted to compose the Quixote. Nor surely need one be obliged to note that his goal was never a mechanical transcription of the original. He had no intention of copying it. His admirable ambition was to produce a number of pages which coincided word for word and line for line with those of Cervantes. Now, I'm going to leave you to ponder that based on what we kind of talked about previously and what we're going to talk about continuing. Now, we talked about the idea that the plagiarist was used kind of like almost to give a frame for the nature of the copyist, as we talked about previously in the relationship between the draftsman or the author and the copyist. And Julie did a brilliant job last week about talking. And if you haven't watched that one, you really need to, because it's absolutely brilliant. It may be one of the most brilliant kind of pieces that we've done so far. Here's Julie.
Hi.
Hi, Puddle. All right, so
I'm so tired.
Now this next piece is what I call copying and plagiarism applications, keys to potential organic architecture via transcription of that which is copied and adapted, similar to what I would say is kind of the process in symbiogenesis. Mm-hmm. So that kind of is kind of like the key to what we'll be talking about in this next. Julie's exhausted because she was doing many things.
I'm really tired.
It's like 3 hours. 3 hours sleep never seems to be enough. You
No,
know?
It just doesn't feel quite enough.
Never does. It's really funny. I mean, I've had 3 hours sleep several times. You know what? The longest you know how some people kind of just spout out trivia? Mm-hmm. Somebody was really tired today and we're spouting out trivia. You know, the longest anyone's ever gone without sleep was 11 days.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I don't know if that person just basically fell asleep or died. So I don't know.
Or they were simply lying there in a catatonic state and they technically hadn't.
I've done that.
Yeah, I just really loopy.
Yeah, so anyway, but you did an excellent job, my love.
Thank you.
So give us an idea of where you think you'll be going with your highly advanced brain and your adventurous mind this weekend, based on where you were last week with your notes and all your kind of like things and your queries and your stuff.
Thanks. Well, I discussed copying in the natural world, which I think when humans focus on copying, as with many things, they focus on a very anthropocentric world. But the world of copying is vast,
Mhm.
and what we talked about on Saturday night in part one of copying and plagiarism is the fact that animals copy to survive. It's a fascinating mechanism because the act of not just superficial copying, in fact, I would point out a structural distinction here. When humans copy other humans, when humans plagiarize other humans, it's a fairly straightforward, recognizable process. On the other hand, when animals copy others, it's an incredibly stratified, layered process where they aren't just simply, copying spots and stripes and say, a mimicking call. They copy feeding patterns, they copy mating patterns, they copy all sorts of things from other creatures, like the pachyderm rituals for burial and bereavement actually have been copied by monkeys and chimpanzees, but without the understanding of the elephants. It's pretty fascinating. In fact, I just read a study, and this goes right to what we are saying on the ability of certain animals to copy or mimic human music. And they found, interestingly, for all of those people who are simianophiles, which we are not,
I
we are
like,
not
I don't like
into
primates.
monkeys.
Earlier primates is creepy.
No, we are not into early primates. We're into nudibranchs and mollusks and lichens,
like
and
more
mosses.
complex organisms.
More high, yeah, very, very complex.
We like the more complex organisms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
bacteria.
Oh,
right? Things like
definitely.
that.
Yeah, we are eukaryote
Microbes.
people.
Yeah, exactly. Well, primates are eukaryotes
yeah,
too, but I mean, it's like I just,
very well
I think when I look at them, I see human behavior, and I'm like, yeah.
Well,
But this brings me to an idea.
yeah,
Okay, because I think one of the things I always always kind of felt curious about was like copying. And then when you watch animals play, like you watch bears wrestle, you watch dogs wrestle, you realize they're kind of like doing this. They seem very playful because they're not trying to hurt each other. They might accidentally hurt each other. But the point is getting used to the idea of feeling comfortable in this behavior, because behavior is basically going to be part of your existence. So I think the idea is, I've always felt that like our education fails miserably because we don't understand that concept of play. That thing which is most necessary to understand, your education in yourself, is that what is most likely to allow you to survive. We've done education so badly. We fight the natural impulse that we actually need in order to survive. That's how poorly we do it. Now, bears wrestle, and they may, and wolves and dogs and cats, and they do these things right to each other just to kind of get a sense of how they will be able to kind of understand this in a circumstance where they would actually have to use it. So they don't seem to be upset with it. They seem to just see it as a natural thing. And in that way, we have all this money, time, effort spent on education, and most people try, as I did, their best to avoid it because I saw it as absolutely worthless. And none of my education came through any institution that I ever attended, with the exception of Mrs. Rosen in the Queens Village Public Library when I was a boy. Anyway, so that's basically it. So what I think the key is, I'm going to start to think about between now and Saturday is what is it that's essential to copy? Because I think that's where the problem is between the organic and the artificial copying. That's me done. Julie finishes up.
Okay, yeah.
As only you can.
Thanks. I just wanted to finish what I was saying about it feels nice, about animals and music. This is very key. is the ability to copy or tap out with your body musical tones, beats, and rhythms is not just a human thing. In fact, as you know, birds, especially something like a minor bird, a crow, a
Or a
parrot,
major bird.
a major bird, that is funny, can
Or
instantly,
a B minor bird.
that's funny,
Or G major bird.
P, I'm tired,
Oh, Pop.
can
Well, I
can
still love you. I'm
instantly,
going to love you back
thank
to
you,
more.
can instantly tap out any music that they will hear. They can bob their head, which they'll do, and change to meet the beat and the rhythm of the music. Interestingly, no primate that they studied in the study I just read in last week's issue of Science, the academic journal, no primate was capable of doing that. They were capable of being taught to mimic or copy a beat, but it wasn't, and this is key, what happens when copying is not generated by the same force initially? That's the point, meaning that birds and humans both processed musical information in fundamentally similar ways, meaning their brains, their cochlea in their ear, the way the brain processes sound is it's basically fed to the brain after it travels from the middle ear to the cochlea. There is a marked interpretation of sound. So no primate processed sound fundamentally in that way, meaning they could be taught to mimic a beat, but when they were offered a reward, they didn't change their mimic. When the music changed,
This is a preview.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, let's not give away the whole thing. I mean, like we can go into detail, but again, like I just want to remind you.
Okay.
It's just finish up. But
so the fundamental roots of mimicry, copying, not plagiarism, that's a whole other thing. That's just the intentional will to cheat, be lazy, or deceive and pass off, original work as your own when it is not. But copying and mimicry are something very, very different.
I promise I'll get Julie some sleep between now and Sunday.
I'm so tired.
All right.
But yes.
Okay. The realm of ideas is free to all, and it's the benefit of all for us to do it exactly this way.
Precisely.